Now, Senator Bernie Sanders had some words for Donald Trump's comments on immigrants coming from what he considers to be shithole countries. Now, speaking to Chris Cuomo on Thursday, Bernie Sanders said this. Let's take a look.
Do I agree? No. I think it is appalling. And I think of two things now, Chris. You know, my father, I'm a first-generation American, and my dad came from what I guess Trump would call a shithole, and that was a very rural and a very, very poor area and a very poor family from Poland. And he came to the United States alone at the age of 17. I cannot believe the courage that that took. And he was able to make a living and raise a family in the United States to become a very proud American.
All right, so what Bernie Sanders is talking about is the story of America, right? People come to this country going through or coming in from countries that were going through social or economic strife or upheaval, you know, oppressive regimes, that kind of thing, right? Now, imagine if instead of coming over here, the Pilgrims decided to stay in their country of England, right? Now, which to them, since they did not allow religious freedom, was kind of a shithole, in their opinion. So, now, that would have been awesome for the Native Americans, who did not fare well after, you know, the Pilgrims and the English and Europeans came over to settle America. But then again, none of us would be here, and Trump, that includes Trump, right? So that's important, right? Because the main draw of the United States was to get away from the old world to places with opportunity. And throughout our history, we have had people come over from what Trump and some conservatives would call shitholes, who not only became very successful, but changed the American life, and actually through their, you know, innovation, inventions, and their opportunity, actually changed things for the better in the world. And that's because they had the opportunities they didn't have back in their home countries at the time. So Trump talked about why we don't bring in people with Norway or from Norway. Look, Norway is a lovely country. It's the happiest country on earth. It's actually very, very progressive. But it turns out they weren't always that way. And I think every different country has their own story at a time where they would be considered a shithole, right? Now, let me give you the Norwegian history, right? Now, in the 19th century, Norway was economically undeveloped. They were a mostly agrarian society with a rapidly growing population. Now, that population, 2/3 of them, ended up living in rural areas. Now, most of them did not have land in order to grow crops. As a result, there were a lot of people that wanted to leave. So many of them came to the United States. So, and it's funny because when these Norwegian immigrants were actually coming to the United States, there was a lot of Americans who were already here that were like, no, that Norway's a shithole. We don't want those shithole people. No, send them Norwegians back. And look, America has a history of this, right? We've sent Irish back. We've sent, Jewish people back. We've sent Norwegians back. We've all sorts of different people. White people, right? We've sent white people back. We sent Chinese back. We've sent black people back. We have done all these things, right, in America. And they use the same argument. We don't want people from these countries. Well, people are people. It doesn't matter where they come from. And everybody, I think, is entitled to opportunity. And that's what America was supposed to be. Now, back to Norway, look, things are different now, right? And actually in Norway, it's a fantastic country because they live in a social democracy. And they have a strong welfare state. And what's interesting is that now they have a stronger economy. They have more economic mobility. They have better outcomes. They have a longer life expectancy. And look, because of those different factors, there are many Norwegians that are like, why would I want to come to America? Because to them, that's a shithole. So, and it's reflected in the fact that there are actually fewer Norwegians living in the United States than people from any other European country. It's not because, as some would say, oh, it's because they're white and ethnically pure. No, no, no. Here's the thing, right? We could have the best social democracy in the world if, for one, people stop being fucking racist. Because I could make the argument that it's the fact that there are so many people that have racial anxiety, and that's why they vote for people who cut welfare. You know, say, no. See, I don't want my tax money going to those people, right? No, I don't want my health care going to those people. So I would rather stay in a private system where I actually end up having to pay more, because at least I'm not subsidizing those people, right? That's the problem with our society, is that we are, at our core, there is a huge, thick vein, this toxic vein of racist attitudes that go behind a lot of our laws and a lot of the systems that we have set up in the country. For example, you know, I give you the welfare system, talked about Reagan and the welfare queens, right? And why, that's why we're going against the welfare system. It's not about, you know, saving money. No, it's about racial resentment. It's about how they hate when people that they don't consider human beings or equal human beings getting some of their tax money redistributed to them in order to help them. They don't like that. But, you know, look, again, we could have a great social democracy if people would actually stop being racist and consider people who look different, brown, black, yellow, whatever, as fellow human beings, as fellow Americans, right? And the other thing is we also have to take back our country from giant multinational corporations. So, and that goes along with, of course, what Bernie Sanders has to say next.
What I think of, Chris, today is all over this country, you have decent people who sit down with their kids at the dinner table and they say, judge people based on their character. Don't judge people based on the color of their skin or the country that they came from, whether or not they have an accent or not. Judge them on whether they are good human beings. And we have a president today, the leader of our nation, telling the whole world that that's not what he does. I think the point that you made a moment ago is the right point. It's not just to respond in anger. It's to build a political movement in this country which says that that is not who we are. We will not tolerate that type of moral inadequacy. And we are going to create a very different type of America and get back to the values that help make us a great nation.
And that right there, saying that, you know what, maybe we should judge people by their character and then work together to make this a better nation for all of us. That's what a real leader sounds like. And it's obvious today that with Trump, we don't have one of those. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.